it's your Missniecytv, and I made you the review for Zatima Season 4, Episode 7. Episode picks up with Fatima getting ready for work, and Zach is helping her put on her shoes, and she's like, no, I don't need no help, I got it. He's trying to help her up. She's like, no, don't help me, because the last time you helped me, you dropped me. Zach is like, well, I got my balance now, and I won't drop you. Fatima's like, no, I got it. Her whole thing is she doesn't want any help. She wants to do it independently. She basically tells Zach, if I need your help, ask for it. Zach is like, all I'm trying to do is... Fatima's so independent that she doesn't want anybody to help her at all do anything. Then they start talking about the baby shower, and Zach is like, it's a lot. And Fatima's like, it's a lot. I told you I wanted something small and something intimate. Zach is like, I knew that, but it kind of grew. Fatima's like, you know what? I'm taking this over. Zach is like, no, you're not. Fatima was also yelling at Zach not to be late to the maternity shoot. And I'm like, oh, the maternity pictures are going to turn out. So he's like, aren't you almost late for work anyway? Fatima's like, yeah, I got to go. So Fatima leaves and she goes to work. And in the law firm parking lot, she gets out of her car and she starts looking around. Angela taps her on the shoulder and she jumps. And Angela's like, what's wrong with you? Fatima's like, it's nothing, it's nothing. Angela's like, it's something and we need to talk about it. Fatima's like, it's nothing and I don't want to talk about it. Angela's like, so does this have to do something with that rude lady in the conference room the other day? Fatima's like, Angela's like, I knew I should have beat her up when she tried to break into your house. Fatima's like, what are you talking about? Angela's like, well, it happened the night of the repass and everything was going on. So I decided not to tell you. Fatima's like, you definitely should have told me. Angela's like, the reason I didn't tell you because you introduced me to her as your friend. Fatima's like, that lady is crazy. She is not my friend. Fatima's like, Zach can't find out about this. Fatima, you still haven't learned your lesson about not telling Zach things. You should have learned your lesson the last time you crashed out when you didn't tell him anything. If Zach doesn't find out about this and he has to find out about it on his own, and you're not the one that tells him, the crash out is going to be worse. Seeing that you're pregnant and the doctor told you that you can't be under stress, and he was trying to do everything in his power to protect you by getting a bodyguard, but you chose to say. Fatima's like, I'm gonna be alright, I got my gun on me. And then Angela's like, okay, Cleo, I'm just trying to make sure you don't set it off in the office. And I'm like, Angela's like, so Fatima, you have a stalker now? Fatima's like, no, as long as you stay out my way, I'm good. And they start talking about the maternity shoot and how Fatima's hairdresser is not answering the phone and letting her go straight to voicemail, and she sent a deposit now. I'm like, Fatima, newsflash, that's a lot of modern day hairstylists these days are not really professional. Then, of course, Angela has to bring Belinda into the conversation. She's like, Belinda can do it. Fatima's really not trying to hear that, but Fatima's like, I guess I'll do it since I have no other choice. And Angela's like, okay, I'll call her. And then they start talking about the food in the break room and how Angela's like in their break room because they have better sex. And Fatima's like, okay. Speaking of the break room, inside the break room, Angela's having a conversation with Stephanie. Stephanie is the same one that Angela asked, did she see Fatima that? Angela takes notice to Stephanie losing weight. Angela's like, well, I did this because of a weight loss drug. And I'm like, Angela, I know you're not trying to be on Ozempic. Stephanie also adds to the fact that men are hitting on her more since she lost weight. And of course, you know, Angela's male-centered, so she's taking heed to that. So after the conversation with Stephanie, Angela looks at herself in the mirror. Angela's really contemplating taking the drug, and I think Angela's gonna do it. It's off topic, but it's actually on topic. Have you seen Nzinga's weight loss journey? She looks amazing. Then Angela gets a call from Zach saying what time the baby shower meeting is, because apparently Angela's helping Zach plan his baby shower because Zach is getting overwhelmed. Angela's like, I'll meet you at Olive's at 12 o'clock because I have an hour for lunch. So the Overrise Ventures Preston tells Zach that they were to get the LOI for the building, but the owner just wants to meet with them. Zach is like, I can't meet with them. Preston like, that's okay. You just get to inspect it. Over at Olive's, they finally meet. They have a conversation about how the baby shower is going to look. Zach is like, I don't want to do nothing too over the top, but I want it to be special for her. Angela's like, special for her? Zach is like, yeah, seeing that this is our first baby. Angela's like, it's her first baby. Zach is like, yeah, and I know, and I want to do something special for her. Angela's like, special for her? Zach is like, I want to do something special for us. And then they start talking about how he wasn't there for Michael's baby shower, and he don't even think that Heather had one. Angela's like, she had one. It was something really ghetto, though. Zach is like, how you know? Angela's like, when we found out that you had a baby, we did a social media deep dive. Zach starts showing her all the stuff that he wants to get for the baby shower. And Angela's like, you remember, she wants to do something small and intimate. Zach is like, I know, but I like all this stuff. Angela's like, the reason she said that she wanted to do something small and intimate is because she didn't expect you to be there. She expected you to do this all on her own. Zach is like, I would never do her like that. Angela's like, I know, but she's very independent and she wants to take things on her own, and she felt like she would have to do this on her own. And she didn't want to get her hopes up high if she was just doing this on her own, so she lowered her expectations. Zach is like, you can't tell her that you're helping me with this. I want her to think that I'm doing it all on my own. Angel's like, you know what, y'all in y'all secrets. Zach is like, what are you talking about? What secret is she hiding? Angel's like, nothing. Zach just lets it go. And I'm like, Zach, only if you knew. Angel's like, y'all should have a baby shower in the law firm lobby. Zach is like, in the law firm lobby, will the decorations fit in there? Angel's like, yeah, it's free and nobody will be there on that day. I'm like, Angela, I know you're really not trying to contemplate on having this baby shower at the law firm, and you will not have this baby shower at the law firm. You will not. Over at the law firm, in the conference room, Fatima calls Sage to let her know that she's sent some documents over and she needs Sage to look at them. Sage is like, I haven't looked at business documents before. I don't know what I'm looking at. Fatima's like, if I could be honest with you, that's the reason why you're in the predicament that Sage is like, that's what y'all get paid the big bucks for, to look at those personal documents. I don't have time for that. Fatima sets up a meeting for them to look at the documents together. Apparently they're going to look at the venue while they're looking at the documents for Sage's release. Once Fatima gets off the phone with Sage, she calls the hairdresser that took her deposit, and of course she's being sent a voicemail again. And that's when Chelsea walks in. Apparently that's Chelsea's cousin. So Chelsea comes in and she asks Fatima how things are going with Sage, and Fatima tells her, well, I have a meeting with Sage later so that we can go over the documents. I just want to make sure my ducks are in a row. Chelsea compliments her again about the good work that she's doing. Fatima lets Chelsea know that she's been trying to contact her cousin, but her cousin has been sending her the voicemail, and Chelsea's like, you see how family do? Chelsea's like, do you want me to contact her? Fatima's like, no, I got it. I have somebody else in mind. And as they're talking, Leslie walks by with the same exact outfit that Fatima had. I'm like, so there's no security in this building at all. How is she getting past the doors without showing any type of ID or anything like that? So Fatima's just staring out the window, and Chelsea's like, are you okay? Fatima's like, yeah. And then she goes outside and she starts looking for Leslie. I'm like, why would you start looking for that lady by yourself? Fatima needs to honestly let somebody know what's going on before this gets out of hand. Over at Belinda's, Nate surprisingly comes over there with a box of stuff, and Belinda's like, what's this? Nate is like, this is your stuff that I took from your house since I've been living in my car since you put me out. Belinda's like, okay, but why are you returning it? Nate is like, well, me and Lori decided that we're going to work on our marriage and all this other stuff, right? Belinda ain't trying to hear all that. So she's like, you was married when you was in my bed and you came over here and all this other stuff. Nate is like, I know that, but we were separated. I'm still married. So me and Lori are going to work on our marriage. You could lose my number. Belinda tries to butter him up and try to kiss him, and I thought Nate was going to fall for it, but he actually didn't. He just walked out the door. So when Nate leaves, she starts crying like, Belinda, you knew what came with the territory when you started messing with him. If you really thought that he was going to leave his wife for you, you're crazy. And I don't even know why you called Lori a hoe when you're the hoe. Angela calls Belinda to see what she's doing, to see if she can help Fatima with the maternity shoot, and Belinda's trying to play it off like she wasn't crying, and she's like, girl, I was just working on this wig. Over at the hospital, we see Connie getting her treatment, and she's in this room with this lady, and Connie can't stop shaking, and the lady's like, what's wrong with you? You find out that the lady's name is Miss Betty, and she's really having a conversation with Connie. She's like, you need to tell your family about this. Connie's like, I don't want to tell them because I don't want to be a burden on them. Miss Betty's like, you wouldn't. Connie's like, I did tell one person, but I told him not to tell anybody. Miss Betty's like, well, how would you feel if you were in this situation and something happened to one of your friends and they didn't tell you? Connie's like, I would be mad. So how do you think your friends would feel if something were to happen? Connie's like, I didn't even tell my kids yet. And Miss Betty tells her the same thing that she said about you need to tell your kids and your family so they can help you through this. Connie's like, I just don't want to be a burden and everything. Connie, you're not a burden. Trust me. People want to be there for you the same way that you're there for them. As they're talking, Connie gets a call from somebody about Jeremiah being in the hospital, so Connie tries to get up and go upstairs to see what's wrong with Jeremiah. Miss Betty calls the doctor because she sees that Connie's trying to get up. Connie's like, can you tell me what room Jeremiah Matthews is in? And the doctor's like, sure. Even when Connie's going through her own situation, she's still trying to be there for somebody. Connie finally makes it upstairs to Jeremiah's room. She's like, Jeremiah. Jeremiah is like, Connie, what are you doing here? Connie's like, I'm here to check on you to make sure you're okay. Jeremiah starts going in on everything about what's going on with his life and how he doesn't have nobody. And Connie's like, you know, I might have to tell Zach, right? Jeremiah's like, for what? He doesn't even care that I'm alive. Connie's like, of course he cares. And as they're talking, Jeremiah's like, what is that patch on your chest? Connie tries to lie, and she's like, you know, I'm here to get my new birth control. Jeremiah's like, you know, one thing that will never change about me, even through all of this, is that I know when somebody's lying, and I know that you're lying about something big. Connie, you might have messed up really bad if Jeremiah is the one that's calling you out on it. He knows that you're lying. Honey, do you forget that Jeremiah was the one that almost had to pick you up off the ground because you almost fell? And then you lied to him and said that you're lightheaded? Of course he's going to put two and two together and realize that something's wrong with you. Honey, you might as well start telling people what's wrong so that they can be able to help you. Let me know what you guys think about the episode. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn your bell notifications. Bye!